Hi, I'm Joe. I teach photography at the School of Visual Arts in New York. Today we're going to talk about how to deal with a backlit subject. The problem with a backlit subject is that all of your light is coming from behind, which makes this side of your subject a shadow. And what you normally get for that is a silhouette. That's what your camera is going to be kind of inclined to give you. And the first and easiest way to deal with that is to just take your camera's exposure reading and open up one or two stops from what it says to do, so that the camera is going to indicate that you're overexposed by one or two stops, but that overexposure is what's going to open up the shadow and allow you to see what's in the shadow. Your background's going to get a bit bright. Usually you don't care because your subject is the thing that you actually care about. So I started out at f4 in this case, and what I've done is open up to f2, which is 2 stops more light, which is exactly what I need to open up that shadow. Another thing that you can do is to just use a reflector to take some of that light that's coming from behind and bounce it back into your subject to open up the shadow. Usually I'd have a person hold the reflector, but I happen to have a light stand with me today, so that makes it a little easier and I'm not wasting manpower. With the reflector in place, the light hits the reflector, bounces back into the shadow. You're still going to wind up opening up a little bit, but it's not going to be as much, and your background is not going to be as overexposed as it would be if you just use the opening up method. This also gives you a nice sort of soft diffuse light sort of back into your subject's face. It's very attractive, it's easy to do, and you don't have to use a store-bought reflector. You can use a white sheet or a piece of poster board or something like that. I'm lucky because I have this stuff lying around, but really any white or silver surface will do. Even the reflector that you use to put on the windshield of your car, to keep the car from getting hot, is a pretty good substitute for something like this. They're almost the same thing. Lastly, the thing that you could do, most of your cameras have a little pop-up flash like that, and one way to deal with a big shadow is to shine some light into it. Oh look, the camera comes with a light. I find the flash to be a little bit harsh, so I have this inexpensive little diffuser thing that I hook over it. It's not strictly necessary, but it's a handy thing. If you're going to use the flash that's on your camera like this, at some point or another, you're going to have to RTFM to find out exactly how to work the flash. RTFM meaning read the frickin' manual, because somewhere in the directions, there's a button or a switch or something that allows you to force the flash to underexpose. You don't want the flash to put out the same amount of light as your backlight, or you're going to get a massive overexposure. You want the flash to be putting out 1 stop less than the backlight. And the easiest way to do that is to find the button or the switch or the schmappets, the spadoinka, the fishtoodle, whatever it is on your camera. You got to push, twist, whatever, to make the flash, to set the flash to -1. And if you set the flash to -1, that should be pretty much all you need to do to have the right amount of light filling in the shadow without causing an overexposure in the entire scene. And the only other thing you got to keep in mind is make sure to give your flash enough time to recycle between frames. Where it's going to get very frustrating because you're going to push the button and nothing's going to happen on the camera. And those are a few simple tips for dealing with a backlit subject.